Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. James Whittall.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be in Telford, the home of the British Industrial Revolution. Abraham Darby, the first steel structure in the world, emanated in this very place here in Ironbridge, Telford. But I ask myself, what would Abraham Darby make of the Great Britain that we live in today in 2010? What would Abraham Darby make of the subjugation of our people? The way British people are treated like second-class citizens while Somalians live in £2 million mansions in Knightsbridge. There's nothing accidental about this project of multiculturalism in Great Britain. We've long held the view it is a deliberate project to change what we are. These people that govern us, the liberal elite, they view us as a people with no identity. The anniversary of Convention 169 of the United Nations Charter on Indigenous and Tribal Peoples has just passed. To celebrate the passing of this charter, there was an early day motion in the Houses of Parliament. This early day motion offered support to this charter, which states that every people, every race, every tribe, in every land in the world has the right to exist in their natural ancestral homeland.
Yes.
Now we, as the British National Party, support fully the rights of every indigenous people, whether they be in Tibet, Brazil, Japan or Britain. Every indigenous people in the world has the right to exist in peace and harmony in their ancestral homelands. But it would appear our rulers and masters do not agree, ladies and gentlemen, because this early day motion that has just passed through Westminster affirms that this charter cannot be put on a legal footing in the United Kingdom because there is no such thing as the indigenous British people. An absolute shame and disgrace. To speak up for one's people does not make one a racist. To speak up for your people does not make you a Nazi. To speak up for your people shows a love for your country, because I know who I am, I'm proud of where I come from, I'm proud to be British, and I will fight to maintain our right to exist here in our ancestral homeland.
Yeah.
So why are we here today? We're here today because of the systematic destruction of our country and our culture by these traitors. Jonathan Wilkes had a word for this kind of representation. He said, rather diplomatically, in the 18th century, it's about the representation of the many by the few. I prefer the rather more blunt assessment of Ollie Cromwell, who said, "Ye are mercenary wretches who would sell your country like Esau for a mess of pottage. Except now these traitors sell their country not for a mess of pottage, but for their pieces of silver and gold, for their moats to be cleaned, their trees to be cut, for their second homes in Westminster, for their..." And whilst these traitors spend the taxes of the British people on these vile, vile expense claims, we have just seen a winter pass where 60,000 pensioners died because they couldn't afford to heat their homes.
Yes.
Shame on them all.
Shame on them all. It is not a victimless crime. We have also seen Gordon Brown gleefully pledge £1.5 billion extra in foreign aid to climate change. £1.5 billion to help the third world with climate change. This on top of the £8 billion we already give the third world every single year. Now that $8 billion includes $750 million to India. India, who have nuclear weapons and a space program. India, who have just proudly announced the development of their new rocket, which coincidentally costs around £1.7 billion. So while our pensioners die, while our homeless sleep in boxes, while our soldiers are blown up because they're ill-equipped in an illegal war in Afghanistan, we can afford to pay for India to fly to the moon.
Scandal.
Now you tell me, ladies and gentlemen, is it racism to object to this madness? Does this make me a Nazi because I wish for our old folk to be put before aid to a foreign country which patently doesn't need it? Does that make me a racist?
Of course not.
One of Labour's key pledges when they came to power in 1997 was tough on crime, tough on the causes of crime. Well, as far as I can see, the only people they're being tough on today are the victims. If someone breaks into your house, a burglar, it's the homeowner who gets arrested. What kind of justice is that? We in the British National Party say when a burglar crosses the threshold and breaks into somebody's home, they lose their human rights the minute they cross the door.
Yes.
We also say the war in Afghanistan is immoral. We wish to be self-governing in our land. It would be hypocritical of us not to offer exactly the same rights to the Afghan people, to the Iraqi people. It is no concern of ours to be initiating changes of government. It's not the BNP that have slaughtered tens of thousands of Muslims in the Middle East. It is the traitors in the Labour Party, ably backed up by the traitors in the Conservative Party, that have done this to these people.
Yeah.
Week after week, we endure the sight of our brave soldiers coming back from Afghanistan with their limbs blown off or in wooden boxes. This is the shame of our age. Our people are dying and being maimed for an illegal war in a foreign land. It is the keynote part of the British National Party manifesto for this election launch in 2010. The British National Party say, bring our troops home.
Yeah.
Don't be deceived into thinking the Conservative Party would be any different. Did anyone see the news yesterday? David Cameron's pledge in Barking. Has anyone seen that?
Yeah.
David Cameron pledged to help Labour by standing their candidate down to make sure Nick Griffin didn't win in Barking. And these people say they believe in democracy. They're showing their true colours. The Conservative Party is showing their true colours. Only today, he has put his foot in his mouth once again. His latest big idea is that homosexuals in Africa should be allowed to claim asylum in Great Britain because they're persecuted. Notwithstanding the fact that millions will just claim to be homosexuals in order to gain asylum, notwithstanding that, it is a medical fact that 90% of new AIDS cases come from sub-Saharan Africa. As Enoch Powell said, it's like watching a nation busily engaged, heaping up its own funeral pyre.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This should come as no surprise to people who follow the Conservative activities as closely as some of us do. Boris Johnson was asking for an amnesty for illegal immigrants only last year, and yet the Conservatives still bang the drum. They still claim to be the party of the patriotic people in this country. Well, I say this, there's only one vote on that ballot paper that will secure a future for Britain. There's only one vote that will secure a future for your children, and that is a vote for the British National Party.
Yeah.
We all know the road's rocky, but nothing good ever came easy. I'm going to quote William Gladstone to finish. I think it's quite a fitting quote. William Gladstone said, "It is never a pleasant thing for a man to spend his closing years in a vain and unavailing protest. But if he thinks his protest may avail, it is his duty to protest. It is to perform that duty, ladies and gentlemen, that I come here tonight. For protest we must, and surrender we never, ever will.
Well
Thank you very much.